This is Barry and Eric again. We're going to be doing a gun gripe tonight about the arms treaty. But first we want to introduce our friend Tim. He's down here from Indiana. And he just purchased, we just got a new batch of Mosin rifles in, the best looking we ever had. And he bought one from us, and Eric and I signed it. And we signed a t-shirt for him and so on and so forth. But he's going to be down here for about a month, and maybe he'll come in and we'll do some more videos with him.
All right, everybody, we're back with another gun gripe today. And this gun gripe has actually been one that's been requested quite a bit from you guys. And that's for us to talk about the UN arms treaty that's on the table right now. I know on July 27th they're slotted to at least accept comments and voting on it, to my knowledge and everything. Bear in mind that the treaty has to be ratified by 2/3 majority of the Senate, right?
That's correct.
Okay. By 2/3 majority of the Senate, the treaty has to be ratified, and the President has to approve the treaty as well. With the treaty, a treaty can never supersede the Constitution at all. That's one thing. So even if they were to ratify such a treaty, it should not have any effect on our direct constitutional rights. I know that's been a big worry amongst people. But so far, the treaty doesn't really have a ton of momentum in the Senate. There's not a whole lot of support for it. I think right now they're at like 47 or 46 votes, and they would need about 13 or 14 more votes in order to make the 2/3 majority for it to pass. Of course, we do know that Obama would sign it right into law if it got to that point.
Well, now this thing's been going on for like 10 years. It's been rumored about this, but it's rumored that this is a way around the Second Amendment. If this treaty was signed, supposedly we're going to be under some kind of UN arms control, but the United States, in my opinion, is a sovereign country, and there again, like Eric said, it's going to have to pass the Senate, and it's probably not going to do that. The NRA is blocking this at every turn. They're fighting it tooth and nail, and if you don't belong to the NRA, you need to be a member.
Right, it's only $35 a year, people.
That's correct.
You know, pay your dues, keep your dues current, and the NRA, I know they have a lot of random skeletons in their closet in terms of things they've done over the years, but however, they are a large proponent to our rights, and they fight for your rights. I know it may not seem like it in some cases, but on the legislative end, they definitely are fighting for your rights, and they protect our rights every day. Another thing about the treaty that kind of gripes me a little bit overall is that the outline of the treaty, what it's really meant to accomplish is that it's supposed to keep guns out of the hands of people that would commit genocide, acts of war and violence, and acts of basically oppression. And what they're looking at are these like totalitarian regimes, and these regimes where there's a fear of the government having all of this power and influence over the people, and basically having the ability to kill their own people if they need to or whatever. The treaty is really designed to keep weapons out of the hands of those kinds of people. But really, again, we see that with what America is about and everything, we aren't involved in any of that. We're not a developing country. We're not a third world country. There's really no reason that we would need to support or adhere to that treaty.
Right.
It doesn't have anything to do with us directly. We are one of the largest importer of foreign firearms. Of course, we're buying all over the world and that kind of stuff. I know, I'm trying to think of what the guy's name is. I think it's Joel Christian, the fellow that heads up IMA. They went over to Nepal and they bought that giant cache of antique weaponry.
Right.
So see, the U.S. is a big, supporter of preserving history. And in a lot of those cases, if the treaty were ratified and were taken to the letter of the law, caches like that, if found, would not be able to be brought back into the country, imported. To my knowledge, that's what they're trying to accomplish. Right. And really, that history needs to be preserved in every way.
Well, see, the treaty is not supposed to affect the Second Amendment or your individual right. However, anytime a law like this, that's how they take you over. They get a foothold, and then they get sympathizers with them, and then it goes to something else and something else. And don't forget, they can slip something in on something that's not like a law that's supposed to be like a highway department law. They put a gun control law in there or something like that. You can't let them get a foothold in there.
It's what they call backdoor legislation.
That's exactly right.
And that's how the original assault weapons bill was swept in. It was swept in on like Christmas Eve in some little bogus BS, deal. And it's those types of laws that are swept under the rug that come back and bite you.
That's right.
And, I know that there's been a lot of concern about this UN weapons treaty. I don't think there should be a whole lot of worry about it because it doesn't have a ton of momentum in the Senate at all. The president does support it. Even if he signs it as some form of symbolism that he supports it, it doesn't matter. Without any ratification from the Senate, it's not going to do any good. All it's going to do is just show how anti-gun he is.
Getting back to the NRA, there's a lot of gun organizations in Georgia that support gun rights, but the NRA is the only one with any clout and backbone to it. So if you don't belong to the NRA, you need to become a member, and you need to get your family signed up. They have family policies where you can sign your wife on or your kids on for like $10 a year if you're a member, whatever.
Right.
You can be a member of the NRA with no benefits, no magazine, no nothing for $10 a year.
And the lifetime membership's really not that bad.
Right. I've got people telling me, well, I don't want my name on a list. Well, if you already own a gun, your name's on a list somewhere. I joined the NRA to put my name on the list. My name is counted.
That's right.
I am a patron member of the NRA. There's only, I'm a patron member of the NRA. Now, you can get a lifetime membership. You can do it in payments, installments. I don't know what it is now. I think a life membership is about $600. They've cut it down from like $800, but you need to check into that. But I've been a life member, and I upgraded to patron member like 5 years ago.
And they also have a lifetime membership that you can buy to hand down to your children. That's supposed to be a special price that you can get. It's not the full price of a regular membership, but you can get it and hand it down to your children.
And look at it this way. If you're a life member, you never have to join again. You don't have to worry about renewing your membership. It's all said and done.
That's right.
And I've had people quit the NRA because they keep sending me letters. They keep sending me this, that, and other. I don't want them to do that. Well, they're going to do it anyway. Take them and tear them up and throw them in the garbage can. But join the NRA and let your name be counted.
That's right. So we just wanted to hit on this a little bit because we've had a lot of people asking about it. I've gotten a ton of emails from people saying, hey, Eric, Barry, you guys should gripe about the UN weapons treaty. Yes, we're griping about it here, but I really feel strongly that it's not going to get enough momentum to go anywhere. And, you know, anytime election time rolls around, they start touting about it and talking about it, and it ends up being one of those things where it's on the table. And I think the main thing is they want people to get out and vote. The NRA kind of, you know, makes the alert kind of get out there and get in people's minds. They want people to get out and vote, and they want people to vote towards the most pro-gun people they can.
Right.
And, you know, everybody talks about the presidential election and everything and how, you know, Romney versus Obama. I think it's a lot more cut and dry than that. Where the anti-gun legislation is going to be really put out and everything is we got to make sure we're getting representatives in there that are pro-gun. You know, we need to really take over the majority of the House and the Senate. All of those elected officials, those are the important elections. Those are the people we need to put in there and really make sure that they're looking out for the interests of gun owners. And also, I think limiting terms to a lot of these, you know, career politicians is going to be a big way of helping, you know, things roll along too. You know, they need to get some new blood in there, and we need to make sure the people we're electing to represent us are really representing our, you know, our interests.
We need representatives that know that if they don't do the will of the people, they won't be a representative very long.
Right.
Now, you got these Supreme Court judges that are appointed for life.
Right.
That's bullshit.
It is bullshit. And I would say that overall, an overwhelming majority of Americans, I know there's a lot of left-wing people out there, there's a lot of anti-gun people, but I would say that an overwhelming majority of Americans, if you just ask the average American what they want for gun rights, I would be willing to bet that they would say that they want the right to own a gun.
That's correct.
There's hardly anybody, a red-blooded American, that's going to say, I don't want to own a gun. It's just not the way we are.
That's not right.
So, there you have it. And we'll have another one coming up next week, and we're definitely going to keep this little series going.
All righty. Y'all have a good evening.